Good morning, folks. This is Jacob Folger, artist sculptor. It's early in the morning and I'm feeling inspired. I wanted to get my hands, I was doing a little bit of painting earlier, but I wanted to get my hands in some mud. So I thought I would make maybe a lion's face. So I'm working with, this is Marblex. It's self-hardening air dry clay. I really like it because it's easy to work with and it's economical. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and it dries really hard and very durable and will last forever. Really, honestly, I've been sculpting with it for 3 decades. I highly recommend it. I've got a few tools here. I'm not big on tools though. I only got a few. It may be disappointing for you. I only use a few tools. I mostly use my hands. Paintbrush, couple different sizes, cup of water, can of water. I know it's not much, but that's how I sculpt, okay? So I'm starting with a ball. And I'm going to take my two thumbs here and press in. And that just gives me kind of the bait, just gives me a little bit of eyes there, It's not much to go on yet. And, let's see, I might make it a little bit deeper than that. And take a little oblong shape piece of clay, put it right here, blend it in. Kind of flatten it out a little bit. And then flatten that. Kind of look like that. I'm going to kind of push in the side of the face here. Kind of shape like that. I'm going to kind of flatten this at the top a little bit. Take my thumb and put a little indentation there. Like that. Well, what am I doing here? Did you see something? What is this? This is called simple shapes. Started with a ball. Started with an oblong shape. Now I got a ball here. It's called simple shapes. It makes sculpting really easy because you can visualize what's going on as it comes together. It makes it really easy. And I've got roughly 500 tutorials on my channel that teach all the same way. Simple shapes. You see that, right? You see a line there, don't you? Okay. Give him a little bit of a beard. A ball. Let's go under there. What we got now? Do you see how easy this is? I'm sorry I'm laughing, but I just, I'm still intrigued by it, to this, after all these years of teaching this way. All these years I've been doing this. I don't always sculpt this way. I mean, I do all kinds of sculpting. But when I teach on my channel, I usually teach this way. I'm going to take this tool here and press in to create an eye socket. Same on the other side. Like that. Now this is a roughed in sculpture. I'm just going to rough this in. I'm not going to do a full-blown, finish it and all that stuff. I'm just showing you. It's a demonstration. It's a tutorial too. I mean, definitely make a line today, man. Okay, I'm going to get a ball the right size. So I roll it. I try it out. Doesn't really fit yet. Take a little clay off. Roll it again. Maybe a little bit more off that. Okay, that's good. Now, I set that down over here. And I roll a ball the same size. Maybe you get two or something. If you're not really experienced with sculpting yet, it's best to do two of each. Two balls. And then you start to work with them. Okay. Now I'm going to take this ball tool and I'm going to put a pupil in. I just spin the tool slightly, just so it doesn't develop suction when I'm when I put it in. It helps not to have suction issues. And I want to put the holes in deep enough so that there's shadow. Because we want to look like pupils of the eye. Like that. Those are cross-eyed right now. We'll fix it. Okay, now I'm going to take a ball of clay, roll it into a little noodle, and put that over his eye and blend it in. Now, when you're sculpting, the best thing to do when you're sculpting is like making a line or something like that, whatever it is. It's best to work with a photo or a sculpture of a sculpture, a photo of a sculpture, or not a light photo, because you can see when you have a sculpture that you're looking at as a study while you're creating your piece, you can actually get more information than looking at something from life. I'm just going to thin this out a little bit. I'll thin this out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sculpting my ball tool again. I'm going to go in and just reset those eyes a bit. Those eye pupils. Now I'm going to take a little noodle of clay here, roll it into a teardrop shape like this, and I'm going to put it right here. And this is kind of the bony part of the eye. Put it in. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Like there. And then now I'm going to take a little piece of clay. I'm going to roll it into a noodle like that. And I'm going to put it here. Kind of going around like that. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Snip that off a little bit. Now I'm going to take a little bit of clay. He's got a very deep face. He's got a lot going on here. Very deep. I'm going to put a little bit of the cheekbone on here. And bring down his face a little bit here. Let me do the same on the other side. More. Bring down his face a little bit. And I might try to make this, the nose extend out a little bit further down. Just elongate his face a little bit. I think I made it a little bit short. I'm going to bring that down. Like that. I'm going to add a little bit more to I call them whisker area there on the just below the nose. It's a little bit big. Looks a little human, huh? Okay, take a sculpting tool. Let's tuck that in there a little bit. And then a little more clay here. Again, it's all little shapes of clay coming together to form it, and then blending, but mostly it's just shapes. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm taking little cones, cone shapes to start the mane of the lion's mane. And unfortunately, I had started this and I thought the video was recorded and it wasn't. I'm sorry about that. So you missed these two pieces. So I'm going to show you what you do. The best thing to do when you're doing two pieces of clay is to use a wet tool and score like that. And get the tool wet again, and then score where it's going to go, and apply it like that. And you kind of apply it with a twisting and applying pressure at the same time. So I'd like to do manes on lions with going around like that with the cone shapes. And the reason why I like to do that is because that's just how I sculpt hair. That's how I do it. So it just it gives me a sense that there's some separation between the pieces of hair, and of course there's going to be a lot more work to make that happen. So I'll show you everything. So I got that, and now I got another section here. Store it, wet and store. And then put it on. And I kind of, when I do lion faces, certain things I just like to do a certain way. And when I'm doing lion faces, I like the hair to look like it's blowing in the wind. I don't want to just have this stoic lion that doesn't have any activity going on. I kind of like to have something going on. I'm just going to carve in some lines here to get that hair moving a little bit. And there's more we can do with that, but I just wanted to show you to get started with that. So, I'm going to keep rolling pizza clay now, and I'm going to make them a little bit longer. Like, it's kind of hard to roll it on the screen. I have to kind of take it off screen to roll it. And we'll just start scoring, wetting all this, scoring. Scoring deep. It's good to score deep if you can. And then let your tool. It's good also to clean your tool. Keep your tool clean, because if it's got a bunch of gunk on it, it's not going to be very effective. You want it to be sharp. So kind of bring that. You can see it's coming together, right? You can see that. Well, maybe I will go ahead and do a finish on this so you can see it, because it's a beautiful thing when you do a bronze finish on a lion's face. I have to tell you, it's something else. It'd be nice if you could see that and hang it up on your wall, And of course, you can do this at any size. It doesn't have to be, small. This is kind of a smaller piece, but I like to just, kind of work on the hair as I'm doing it. And kind of, actually carving in the hairlines and stuff like that, because it just gives me a sense that, it's coming together, and I can see how it looks, and getting a feel for it and all that. And I'll just keep going with it. I'm going to go for the kind of the top of the head. make a shape like this. I'm going to store that really, really deep. Wet and store it. Whoops. And I'm going to do the top of the head right up here. Put that on. Like that. And then I'm going to work off of that. And I'm going to put more on. I've done some big lion faces. Here's a picture of one of me sculpting one. That piece was like 14 inches tall. High, I mean, because it was just a face, you know. That was, I think that was in 2014. So, put some lines in there. Coming around. Now I'm gonna do his ears. Okay, so we're gonna start the ears. So the best thing to do again is roll two balls the same size, and then you can press your thumb in like this, and kind of make it, you know, concave in there a little bit, the shape of the ear. And then store. Keep your tool clean and store where it's gonna go. And then put it on and blend it in a little bit. Like that. And then do the same with the other ball. Store it. Blend it in. Blend it in. So we got the basics down now. Now you can take your sculpting tool and try to cut in here like this, separating the strands. You know, basically adding depth to it by doing that. Just cut in deep randomly. You can kind of cut in like that. You can kind of go underneath. Go underneath like this. Cutting in underneath that. Maybe have this maybe curve off a little bit. If you it's a good idea to have like a water bottle like this, and spray your work every once in a while, and your source clay, the piece that you're working from. Now, when I'm doing hair, I like to go back and forth from a sculpting tool and a brush. Because again, I'm kind of going for a windblown kind of look. So I'll put in carving the clay with the knife, and then I'll do the brush for a while, and then I'll come back again and hit it with a tool. Keeping my tool clean. You also can work on a flat board. I didn't know this was going to get this big. I was just going to do a little line face. And often is the case with me. I get inspired as I'm working, and then, things go a different direction. So. Now, as you're doing this, you want to go around to the back side and check that and make sure that there's a good connection between the pieces you're adding and in the back here as well. So if there's any cracks or crevices, you can fill them in. These areas are a little bit bigger than I liked. Pushing them down a little bit. Okay, I got to move to a board a little more manageable because he was getting kind of heavy on me. So I'm going to just work on his eyes a little bit here, I think. There's some definition there. It's basically carving like it's good to be ambidextrous, you know, if you can. Get used to using both hands. Let's add a little bit of details to the eyes here. Once it's on the board, you can really carve the hair a lot easier, and you can add to it. You can take little noodles of clay like this and add to it. And floss the hairs, layer them on top of each other like that. Kind of adds to the depth of the piece. And then, every once in a while, go back to the brush and just give it that windblown look. Maybe what I'll do is bring his mane down a little bit like here. Of course, my board isn't really all that big. I just have to remember not to have it going back because I'm going to make this wall hanging, Okay, I just rolled a bunch of noodles of clay. And I'm going to start working on laying them on. kind of sculpt them, and you can make little triangles, like kind of like that. Kind of making, separate strands. Kind of adding depth to the to the hair. Cut in, cut. Feel free to cut in deep. You don't have to. You want lots of depth to the piece. Go back to that brush, get that brush in there. That's kind of how it's looking now. Yeah, just keep going. You can kind of curve it, a little bit. Make a little bridge along there. See how it's going kind of going off into the wind, eh? So I'm laying in these hairs, and some of them are crossing over each other, and what you can do is when you have these little strands going out here, this clay dries very hard, but still that would be very fragile. So what you can do is you can take a little bit of clay and backfill it. See? Take a bit of clay, like through this strand right here. Just push that in behind it. And that makes that piece really thick. So it's not just a little strand. You take a little piece, go up behind it, and just backfill it like that. So that piece actually is now a big, thick piece, but it looks like it from the front that it's just this little strand. And you can go as far as you want to go. How far do you want to go? You could bring it out 6 inches or whatever. I mean, make it a little triangle. Ooh. So yeah, and then what might be nice is not to have so much carving lines, but actually just having those hairs like that, giving it more of a sculpted hairs as opposed to carving hairs. So I think we're going to be finishing up here. And so I have some advice. I would spend some time smoothing. I personally, for me, I think I'm going to leave a lot of the sculpting marks in, because I know when I do, I'm going to do a full bronze finish on this. When I do that, those marks, sculpting marks, fingerprints, tool marks are really going to look nice. It's going to be a really rustic, awesome sculpture. So when you're smoothing, if you want that, if you want it to be really pristine, then spend lots of time smoothing. Make sure you backfill your pieces, like I showed you, so that these little strands here are not, by themselves out there in the wind. Backfill it. Visually, it still look like they are, They look like they're little strands. But they won't be. And they'll be strong and sturdy. And, try the curves, and, you can add form to it, artistic form. You see how I'm doing that, right? And am going to smooth it down so that I don't have the carved in lines, because I think I just want the sculpted strands to be the hair. And then with Marblex, one of the really nice things about it is you can put it in the oven for like half hour or so and dry the surface of the clay so that you can do a finish on it. And so I'm going to do that and spend some time smoothing, more sculpting, adding hair, and but you see where I'm at, right? Let me give you a bird's eye view. While he's looking at you. Ooh, look at those deep eyes. Ooh, bam. So that's where we are. And we'll come back in a little bit. I want to talk about smoothing a little bit. So I recommend a more coarse brush for if your piece is really bumpy, lumpy. This is an oil brush, which I like for that. It's pretty good, and it's a little bit bigger than my other brush, which is a much smaller brush like this one here. And this is a nylon bristle brush, and it tends to be a lot softer. So if the piece is really bumpy, lumpy, I recommend having your brush fairly wet, and getting your sculpture, pretty wet, because if it's wet, it's going to be softer, and you're going to be able to take down the rough spots a lot faster if it's, fairly wet. So, and then after you get to a point where it's starting to look a lot smoother, but it has a lot of brush marks in it, you can take a smaller, like a nylon brush, and use less water and just go in and drag it like this. Don't go like that, because that puts marks. And so just drag it in, and then just go over and take out all the brush marks and all that. So yeah, so there's that. And then I'm going to show you how to release it from the board if you have it on a board, because you don't want to just like try to tear it off the board, and I'm going to do that in a few minutes. Okay, I've already taken the line off. I thought I was filming it, but it wasn't filming, so I have to redo it, and it'd be better anyways with a small piece of clay to show you, because there's just so little room here to work. This is a wire clay cutting tool. It's a very thin wire. It has 2 handles on it. They usually come in a package of sculpting tools, but you can also buy them separately. And what you do is you hold it to the board at the back of the sculpture, or the top of the sculpture, and you drag it towards yourself, holding it down to the board, and pull it through, and it cuts the sculpture away from the board. Okay? So, once you've got it off the board, you want to turn it over. I thought I was filming all this, but it wasn't filming, so I have to explain it to you. If there's any, you'll often find crevices, holes, striations. You want to fill them all in You can use little bits of clay to do that, and then smooth it and blend it. And yeah, so you want to do that. And then you don't want to wait till this is Marblex and it dries very hard, very hard. I have tried to drill it after it's dry, and it just doesn't work. So, I mean, it really doesn't. I don't even know what kind of drill bit you have to use to build this stuff. So, it's much better to do it when it's soft. And so, but because normally I would just put a hole in the back, but because this is an odd-shaped piece, I want to make sure it's going to hang straight. So what I do is I make an oblong hole. You can use like a ball tool, like go in and carve it out like that. And it's best if the hole that you're putting in there is going at an upward angle, so it will hang securely to the wall. Of course, you want to make sure you don't, when you're carving that you're not going through to the front. But this is a pretty thick piece, so I don't think that's going to be a problem for me. And then I just carve out a hole maybe 3/4 of an inch deep or so. And then when I put the nail in the wall, I'll put it going in like that, and it will hang flush to the wall, and securely to the wall, because it will be at an angle. The nail will be at an angle like that. Now, some people I've seen put hangers on the back. They put a piece of wire and have all this contraption, and it's really kind of lame because you don't want your sculpture sticking out from the wall. You want it to be flush with the wall. Flush with the wall, not like that. So, this is just an easy way. It's very simple, and it works great. And you want to wait until your sculpture is completely dry. 2 days, 3 days. Don't hang it before then, because it could very well rip away from the nail and be ruined on the floor. So that's that. I'm going to warm it in the oven for about a half hour and come back. Okay, we're going to be doing a faux aged bronze finish on the lion. And if your sculpture is a porous material like clay, for example, I recommend priming it with some kind of primer, and I'm going to be using Golden GAC 100 acrylic primer. And I've got a brush here, and I've got the acrylic primer in a lid here, and you should work it into all the details. Try to get a good coverage on it. And I usually do one coat, but I'm a very thorough person when I'm doing this. So, I mean, if you don't think you're very thorough, you might want to do 2 coats. Okay, it takes the primer about 10 minutes to dry. And then the next step is to paint the sculpture black. I'm using Utrecht Studio Series acrylic in deep black. It has a matte finish. It's best to have a matte or flat black finish. You can use other kinds of paints. But that's what I'll be using today. It helps if your brush is slightly damp when you go to put it on. And you have to work it into all the detail. We need to cover every bit of the clay. And you really have to look at it from many directions while you're painting it. Otherwise, you'll miss spots. And you'll want to do at least 2 coats. And then once you've done that, we'll come back. Okay, the next part of this finish is we're going to use Johnson's Paste Wax and Pearl X pigments in antique bronze. Okay. Now I'll just tell you that I will have a complete tool and supply list, as well as links to places you can buy the things that you need for this project. So all be there in the video description down below the video. I put the Pearl X pigments in a lid for easy access. And what I do is I put my finger into the bronze, like that, and I swirl my finger to my thumb, and I do that every time I go into the wax. And then I go into the bronze with my finger like that, and then I swirl that with my thumb, so it looks like that on my finger. And then I highlight the lines. And I'm not looking to cover the whole lion. I'm looking to definitely leave lots of black. I'll get a little bit more wax, swirl my finger, and then I'll go over the lion again. And then I'll turn it over, and wax, bronze, and do the back. And then I take a small paintbrush. I get a little wax on it, dab it, get a little bronze, dab it, and I just lightly go in and touch up the areas that I was not able to reach with my finger. Like the eyeballs, because you want to be able to see those, you don't want them to be all black. And I just slightly touch it up. Now, this finish is really beautiful, but there's another step to it, and that is to dry brush it and make it like a dark bronze. Dry brush it with black, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to do this dark bronze finish. But you could stop here. And if you did stop here, what I recommend doing is taking a soft cloth, wait about 10 minutes after applying it, and buff it. Not buff it, but basically rub it, because it will make that bronze really pop. It'll make it just gorgeous. Keeping in mind, this is paste wax. The whole idea is to protect and give a nice sheen. And when you do that with go over it with the cloth, it makes it really shine. It's really amazing. So what I'm going to do now is switch to the black and show you how I take it to the next level. Okay, still using the Utrecht Studio Series acrylic in deep black. My brush is dry for the most part. I'm going to get a little bit of paint on it, dab it on the table, and try to get it to just be really subdued. And then I'm going to go over it with the black. And what that does is it basically subdues the bronze. But it's like when you layer paint like that, it it just takes on a depth. You know, it gets deeper and deeper as you layer paints and finishes and things like that. So it takes on a lot of character, which is just really nice. I'm just basically, just dry brushing it, covering that bronze. Now I'm going to take a little bit of wax on my finger, a little bit of bronze, like that, and I'm going to swirl it, and I'm just going to touch it here and there. And now I'm going to get a little bit more black. This is what I mean by layering. And I'm going to dry brush it again. And that's what the finish looks like so far. Now I'm going to get a little bit of wax on my brush. And I'm going to go over the sculpture. Okay, there we go, and I'm going to wait about 10 minutes and come back. Okay, the next part of the finish is to take a soft cloth and just rub it, and that will bring out the sheen. It's really nice. And it's a very deep, dark bronze finish. It's I don't know if you can see that, but it's really very, very deep. I'm not so sure the video does it justice. And then what I'd like to do is go over it just with a touch of bronze again. So again, I go into the wax with my fingers, swirl it, pick up a little bit of bronze, swirl that, and then just here and there. Just basically touch it here and there really lightly. And then wait another 10 minutes and we'll come back. I think a black background is probably best for the video to work with this piece right now, rather than that abstract painting I had in there before. So I got my cloth and I'm just going to gently rub it. It's really quite nice. I mean, it's really happy to be able to do finishes like this on my piece. that's it. And I'll bring it up close, provided the camera can deal with it. Yeah, it's really quite nice. Well, that concludes our tutorial for how to sculpt a lion. It kind of went further than I expected. I thought I was just going to do a demonstration, but yeah, I really enjoyed the sculpt, and I hope you did too. If you decide to make a lion, please send me a picture. I'd love to see it. My email address is in the About section on my channel at Folger. And you also can send me a message to my Facebook page. There'll be a link for that in the video description down below the video. And if you could, please give the video a like, share it with your friends and family, leave me a comment or question, and I will reply. And subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon so you get a notification when I upload again. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.